Hello, my good students. I hope you all are doing well. Today, in this lecture, I want to go over a variety of control structures. So what I will do is I will write some programs that uses some of these control structures. And these are going to be arbitrary codes that really does not go with the program. I just want to run it to show how that works. And then we will look into a few applications where we are actually using this control structures for the program. So what I started with is I created a folder, a Java project called ControlStructure Loops. And this is just a folder which is a Java project, and I'm going to start creating a new class, and I'm going to put everything together in one class just to show how we are going to be using this. So I'm going to name this class and I'm going to call it Control Structures Loop. And now I have this template that I have. So I would start off by writing very simple a for statement. So I'm going to say for int I equals 1, I less than equals 3 plus, and I would write a print statement system out dot print line, and I'm going to just print I. Okay. All right. So you could see that I had a few little syntaxes. So remember, this is just a looping structure. So this is repetition or loop. And in this case, we are using a for statement to write this loop. So in a looping structure, you have to have an initial counter that you have to define. So in this case, this is an int. And then you have to also have a condition that you're checking to make sure if it is falling or if the condition is true. And then you're going into incrementing. And the way the loop works is this is going to start from here. So now I has the value of 1, is 1 less than equals 3. If the condition is true, it's go in line number 18 and print out I. Remember, it's a print line, so it's going to go to the next line. And then it's going to go and increment my I to 2. So now at this point, my I becomes 2. Is 2 less than equals 3? If the condition is true, it's going to come back to line number 18 and print line the value of I. So this is how it works. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a breakpoint here. So what I want to do is I want to put a breakpoint over here. And remember, you can put your breakpoint by just double clicking on any one of them, or you can toggle it off. So if you just double click on that line, you can take it off. So what the breakpoint would do is allow me to open the debug perspective so that I can follow along every single variables that I have defined in this program. Okay, and I will do the same thing for all my other programs as well, just to show you how to follow that, how to follow or how to use the perspective in this case. So I'm going to say reserve, and now it's going to open up my perspective, and I can click on remembering, or I can just do switch. So this is my perspective. So at this point, if you think about it, and I do not want the hello world, I want to come in over here. So this is the one that I want, and this is the debug perspective that I want to open. And at this point, these are not the correct values, so let me correct these values. So I went back, and what it was trying to do was I had some other program, so it was trying to open up this particular Java project. So I went back and selected the right one so that it opened up my right project. So at this point you can see this is my breakpoint, so the program cannot go past this line. So it basically showed that for your string, you have an argument with a string of 0. There's nothing that you're passing, and they create a string ID. This is an ID that is created by the IDE, which is Eclipse. So now I'm going to click on step over. So this is my icon. So basically that would allow me to go to the next line. So if I now step over, you can see that the variable value of I is 1. Remember, we have defined our int as 1. So if I now step over another line, it's going to come back and say, okay, it's going to do a print line, and that is what it says, that it is going to do a print, okay? But then it cannot come out of the body of the for loop, so it has to go back and increment. And you can see this by clicking on the click over. Now you see how my I has changed to 2. And again, if I do an over, you're going to see a print. And then if I do an over again, it's going to change it to 3. At this point, I'm still going to print something, because remember the value is 3 and the condition is less than or equal 3. Now at this point, if I do another one, you will see that I have now come out of the loop. Okay. Now if I had a system out print statement over here, it would then execute this line, but since I don't have it, it's not showing anything. So then I have completed the program. Now if I turn off my debug perspective and then just run my program, then I should be getting these values. Remember those values that were showing, which was 1, 2, and 3. So initially the value was 1, and since there's a print line, I went to the next line and 2 and 3. So that's basically how your control structure works. So I came back and wrote another control structure, which is very similar to the for statement, but this one is a while statement. So just like your for statements, you still have to have those 3 essentials. You have to define a counter or initialize a counter. You have to have a condition that it's going to check, and then you have to have some kind of an incrementing or decrementing value, so that while it goes through and loops through the body of the for statement or while statement in this case, there is a mechanism for the looping to be false at some point, because without it being false, it would end up in an infinite loop, so that it will keep on printing it over and over and over again. So in this case, let's again run through the code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this breakpoint off, and I'm going to put a breakpoint right here. Okay, so at this point now, if I go to the debug mode, okay, and I'm going to say yes, I want to continue. So now if I go to the debug mode, so this is my continue. So at this point, my marker is placed over here. Again, I have an argument with an ID 20. So I'm going to run this one. So remember, this one already got executed because I do not have, my breakpoint is right over here. So at this point, my J value has 1. If I go to the next one, it goes inside, it says system out print line. So this is printing my J. If I go next again, it's going to go to 2 because J less than equals 5. So at this point, J is 2. And of course, if you bring your cursor over here, it also shows you the value at this point, because remember, I'm going through it. So now if I do it one more time, my j becomes 3. So basically I'm within my loop and I continue on 4. And if you keep on looking over here, it tells you all the values that you are getting. Okay. And of course, as we are going through it, we're also printing this 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I do it one more time, and now it's going to print 5. Okay. So I can see, I can follow the code by opening this perspective, but at the same time, you can see the output here as well. Okay. So as I'm debugging, I can also see the values that are coming out. So these are my two main control structure. There is also a do while, and I'm going to write a do while here. As you can see, I basically wrote another do while statement, which is another example of a control structure. And we are writing the same thing or same concept where we have to use an initializing counter. And I have a do and a while structure in my do. This is body of my do where I say system.out.println. I'm going to print my m. And then I have to do an incrementing. So instead of doing a plus plus, I want to go up by +2. And then my condition is while m greater than or equal 10. So this is my condition. I have a breakpoint right here. So let me again have my debug mode open. And do a step over. Remember, this is where I'm stuck at. So my m is 0. And I'm going to go in and see how my m is going up to 2. And then also printing my 0 here. And then I'm going to go again. Now it's going to go back. So it came back over here. Remember, I put a breakpoint at this line number 31. So if and that's where it shows there's a argument, there's a j, there is an m. But if I now go to do this, so initially it was 0, now it's 2, and it also printed 0. And change my condition here. So now I have 2. And my breakpoint over here. So I'm going to go over with an M0 at this point. And then I'm going to go over. It's 2. Then it's 4. Because remember, we are going up by +2. 6. 8. And that's where it's going to stop because now we are at 10. So as you can see, we went through the control structure, the 3 different kinds, and I wanted to end the video with just one note. If you look at this perspective, on the debug perspective that you have seen, every single time we stopped and started one, it opened one of these threads. So you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 threads. So that's what is happening every time I stop and start a debug, it opens another thread. So that's how you can kind of keep a track of what was happening. but again, I think it's a important thing, or it's important to understand how to use the perspective to follow your code and also debug your code. Previously, you would always have to write your system out to kind of see where it is and what at that point the value of a variable is. And as we write and do more lectures, I will always try to use the perspective and kind of go through and explain what are some of the values that are going along with it. And of course, be familiar with the the debugging tool of Eclipse. It's very, very helpful. And we will now join, or we will now create get into more presentations with the code along with the perspective in the near future. Thank you.